one of the reasons why our state legislatures and everybody is really moved to get judges on the ballot is that's the way that they've got to control. That's another way, is that you got in the Supreme Court of your states, these guys and gals have got to run. And I know in Georgia we have that situation. And I'm going to be very honest with you. We really got to get more organized and sophisticated on these local, state and local judgeships, because it's really doing us in. And because a lot of these people go on really to do, all that, that lower level crazy stuff, and then it ends up in the Supreme Court, when we lose. So I think that's one of the things we really have to, as an organization, look at.
Thank you, Reverend. That's an important thing because we have three branches of government. It's often the judiciary that's used to do. And in fact, once upon a time, progressives were actually very uncomfortable with it. Many elections were fought against the judiciary because it was so tentative, so corrupt. Do you think that? It says tonight,
like we're not using the democracy that we have.
The fact that that we've got to move toward a discussion about amending the Constitution of the United States in order to restore some sort of sanity to our politics. Now, when I was at the Republican convention, I read their platform. The Republican platform says very specifically there's not enough money in politics. And none, that you can't make it up. And there's not enough money in politics, and in fact says that they will defend the Citizens United ruling and that they are absolutely passionate about it. Now, the president has said it's a little bit of a delicate dance, but he has danced toward supporting a constitutional amendment. When you talk about clarity, this is a very interesting moment we enter into because it appears, to my mind, that Barack Obama has a tremendous opportunity to heighten that clarity in the course of this election campaign. Am I right?
I think you're right, John. And I think it's important also. I want to acknowledge, I've read very carefully Barack Obama's comments on Reddit and welcome those comments. And I think more significantly than the fact, dig just one step deeper, and let's just acknowledge that he made those comments in large part because of the work that grassroots organizers like the folks who are actually been engaged, have forced that conversation. I'm not anti-corporation. There are perfectly good corporations that do commerce, perfectly good corporations. Corporation as an idea is a way to simply assemble people, resources, and so forth, and do things. What is offensive to me in the extreme is the idea of concentrated capital coming together to be able to claim the inherent inalienable human rights that only human beings are entitled to. This could not be more important, y'all, because to claim a constitutional right in a court, as a lawyer, let me tell you, what you are doing is saying some local, state, or federal law has violated my human rights. And if a local, state, or federal law violates a human right, I will be there. I don't care what the issue is. Human rights are not created by the Constitution, they're recognized by the Constitution. This is something incredibly important. What the court did, not just in Citizens United, but what the court has done in creating legal doctrines, not just one court case, not just one bit of legislation, but legal doctrines to say that concentrated capital cannot be democratically controlled. It is to steal our sacred right to self-government. Because no matter how hard we work to pass an environmental protection law, a public health law, a public safety law, a campaign finance, we can't even protect the integrity of our electoral process without corporate lawyers being able to roll into court and overturn them. So, yes, I've been working for about 15 years on this notion of abolishing in its entirety the idea that a corporation has constitutional rights. Thank you. We are also at Move to Amend absolutely dedicated to tying that to the idea to abolish in its entirety the idea that money equals speech. Because here's the important thing. There are political disagreements that we may have with our fellow Americans. But the principle of a democratic republic is one that actually not only can we make common ground with, so the corporation is the instrument that is being used to continue this racist, sexist, class oppressive, and ecologically destructive practices. guess what we're getting at here, I'm getting at is, I believe we are in the early stages of a democracy movement in the United States. So I'll say, people are recognizing that there is a small ruling elite. So
let me ask Steve Cobble here. Steve, how significant is it that the President of the United States last week suggested that at least an openness to this amendment fight? It's very rare that presidents step up in that way.
I agree with David that this is a big change due to the work that you all have done. The president was open to it, and let a year and a half go by. And the obvious reason why he probably did that was that he wanted as much of that money for his re-election as he could assemble. Between now and election day, you become more important. That money becomes less important. He's gotten about all of it he's going to get, and it wasn't as much as he thought he was going to get. The other thing that's happening this election, which is useful to us, is that a bunch of senators and congresspeople that thought they could hide from this issue, that had been trained by the New Democrats and the Blue Democrats, and thought that they could get their share of that corporate money and get reelected, they're finding out the corporate money's turned on them. And some of them may even be angry about it in mid-November when the election's actually over. And if we make this issue that a corporation is not a person, and of course the Republicans have just nominated someone who thinks that that's not so, thinks that a corporation is a person and sort of exemplifies that. It's easy to understand why he thinks that in a way, but we can make this an election issue of major importance between now and election day in a way that there's some motion on it around the country, which as David knows, all of you know, there already is. Cities and states and counties around this country, hundreds of them have already taken public notice of where that they think corporations are not people, money is not speaking. People are very clear on this, and Washington may be actually ready to move a little bit at the end of this, because some people are going to feel double-crossed. And as base as that is, that's often the only reason anything gets done. Well, I was going to say this town, because that's where I live, but that town is Georgia.
David Siegel, I'm going to still keep going on this for one more second. I mean, the clarity between President Obama and Mitt Romney. You think Mitt Romney's trying very, very hard to make it very quickly. You're getting a real sense of where the Republicans are at. Does President Obama need to do, could he do something this week and say in his speech at the stadium to bring this issue, some of this in? You've been in politics, would that be an energizing thing? Could that be the thing? We keep asking what will kind of renew the coalition, what will bring people back excitement-wise for Barack Obama. If he really laid down the line and said, I'm for a constitutional amendment to get rid of that, would that have an impact?
I think it would. I'm beyond the notion that he actually shares our values at large on most of these issues, and we've seen him so consistently hedge towards the status quo, towards the plutocracy whenever he's had the opportunity to do so, whether it's health care, refusing to include a public option, or Medicare for all, which many in this room support, the bailouts, refusing to make a move towards breaking up the banks. It's really difficult for him to overcome this track record of allegiance to the status quo. I mean, I think we've seen him do a couple of things to try to jazz up the base. The DREAM Act, which is a great thing. His support for gay marriage, also a great thing. But I think that he's made a couple of moves to energize the base, but they are very clearly those that did not interfere with the will of corporations, Chamber of Commerce, ALEC, and so on.
And the reason I'm going to vote for him again is in very major part, in the hopes that we can get a 5th Supreme Court justice and build a movement behind it so that we get somebody else like Sotomayor on that board, and we get that 5th vote and start to roll this thing back. Our job is to build a movement to make sure that happens, but without a president, it won't happen. And I'm not apologetic for the fact that I'm going to cast that vote for Barack Obama.